How do we get the Rhine mains to like not want to put a Glock in their mouth?
Hey there, folks. It's been a little while. I always say it's gonna be soon, and then it's not because school happens or something else. But we are back with episode about season 10 of Overwatch 2, and I have just Ian here today. Say hi, Ian.
Hello, everybody.
So yeah, as I said, today's gonna be the season 10 episode. It's I'd be lying if I said this was a particularly outstanding season based on what we've seen so far, but the season's brand new, so we'll see what happens as it goes along. Um, I've from what I've talked with you, from talking with you, Ian, it sounds like you kind of have the same viewpoint on it. It's sort of it's a season. Um,
It is a season of all time, indeed.
yeah, it's okay. Um, but I think we should probably start with the most significant. Well, maybe that's not the right word, but the thing that most people are talking about, which is Venture. I've said it to you before, and you've said it before. This character is fun, but I doubt they're going to make much of a splash. However, I do like that they remind me of Overwatch 1 Doomfist, which makes me very happy. So, I guess we'll start there. I've played probably about an hour of Venture so far. They're fun. As I just said, kind of remind me of Overwatch 1 Doomfist. I think the real highlight of the character is actually, like, the character themselves instead of, like, the kit. Almost sort of a similar way to Sigma, where it's like, yeah, the kit's fun, but the character kind of wins the show. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, I mean, I like both, but I don't know. It's just, yeah, I kind of agree in terms of the meta and like gameplay at the very least. I don't think Venture really introduces anything terribly new or novel or game changing. So a lot of it I do think sort of comes down to just their character being like an interesting, fun, quirky little addition.
Right. It's something maybe more novel than groundbreaking. Well,
Yeah.
literally groundbreaking, but eh. But no, I don't think we're gonna see a Venture meta.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not really sure they're gonna bring about a new meta or anything, but I think they add some fun flair to the game. Did they had something kind of character lore related, right? That was released. I didn't see it.
The little like animated thingy,
Yeah, I never
the
saw it.
origin story that wasn't an origin story,
Oh, is that what it was meant to be?
presumably.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because obviously I'm subscribed to the Overwatch YouTube channel. I never saw a video uploaded like Venture origin story.
They haven't done one. They just released the little thing, I think, on the day the season started. Yeah, I think a couple hours before the season launched, they put out the little thing that's like Venture being like, "Oh, Venture's Adventures." And it's like 40 seconds long.
So they didn't release like a like what they did with Mauga or
Or every other past hero.
every other
No, they
past
did
character.
not.
Okay.
And, maybe they still will at some point. It feels kind of late now, but yeah, presumably that was their origin story, and it didn't really say anything about their origin.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, you can look up their origin on the website. It's like outlined there, kind of. It
What?
talks about them being part of the Wayfinders
Wayfinders,
group.
yeah.
Apparently, they're basically like a bodyguard within the Wayfinders, which is kind of interesting.
Huh. Okay. So we have a character, the first character ever, where they don't have a origin story video. That's encouraging.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I never thought we'd reach that point. Uh, wow. All right, we've gone from Sigma's origin story to no origin story. It's
Yep.
incredible. Uh, okay, so talking about their kit then. I as I said, it reminds me of Overwatch 1 Doomfist, which makes me very happy. Um, I think my one gripe about the character is their ult is kind of weird because it makes them go from a mid-range character or a close-range character to like a kind of further mid-range character, like because usually, you're spending your time either a little bit back shooting the grenades or drilling around and getting in people's faces. But as soon as you ult, you need to like back way up, and it's kind of jarring, honestly.
Yeah, it's the inverse of the problem Zen had in the early days, where like he wants to be far back. He wants to be behind his team so he can move around the harmony orb. So he has a good field of view of the that for people he can discord, and so he can throw his balls and not get shot. But then as soon as he uses Transcendence, he needs to be in the action. And that's why they gave Transcendence the speed boost like years ago at this point,
Mm-hmm.
so that he could actually get from backline to frontline by using his ult. And Venture now feels like sort of the inverse of that, where they want to be in the fray, shooting people, drilling people, all that sort of stuff. And then as soon as it's time to use their ultimate, they need to back up because their ultimate sucks ass at point blank. It's like a Rhine Shatter, but without like the hitting them the hammer Rhine Shatter. It's like you need to be back so you can get that like wide arc to actually hit people. And also so you don't immediately die yourself, because as soon as you pop that thing, everyone focuses you. Everyone. It's like Genji using his blade, except Venture doesn't have the mobility of Genji.
So yeah, you just get like turned to mulch.
Basically,
Wonderful.
ground into gravel.
Yeah, the ultimate is not what I would have expected. It's not terrible, but it's not super satisfying either.
Yeah, it's so weird. I feel like the past few heroes, I mean, I guess maybe Alari didn't really suffer from this, but it feels like, I don't know, like ultimates for heroes in Overwatch 2 just feel like, it often feels like Blizzard doesn't really know what to do for an ultimate.
Hmm.
Like, I guess some kind of, like, Kiriko's ultimate, of course, that makes sense. Like, Ramatra's, I think, makes sense. But, like, I guess maybe it's just Malga and Venture. We've had two in a row where their ultimate feels really weird, really clunky. Like, it doesn't particularly fit the character. It's just, like, a thing they have because they need to have an ultimate.
Right.
And, yeah, it's like the one aspect of their kit that, like, doesn't feel like it quite melds with the rest of the kit. And I do think it's interesting that back at BlizzCon 2023, when we first saw Venture, the one part of their kit, which Blizzard didn't show us back then,
Was the ult.
was their ultimate. And I'm like, is that because they didn't know what their ult was going to be back then? And Blizzard just like last minute was like, we need to give them something. Because it's like, it was so strange. What a coincidence that the one thing that they didn't show us is the one that feels the least fitting upon their release.
That's an interesting point. I had not thought of that. You're right. Weird, yeah. Yeah, I guess it's entirely possible they literally just didn't have an ult for them until God knows, like a month ago or something.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's not a good sign. But then again, I guess we're kind of used to that at this point.
Yep.
Um, in terms of like their play style, I will say I find the drilling around really fun. The one issue I have is that I feel like the drilling could be a little bit faster because I feel like almost every single time I have to be using the drill rush. And I know that it's a lower cooldown, but it still tends to kind of get me killed. If, because, maybe I'm playing it wrong because my instinct is to play it like Doomfist,
Mm-hmm.
where, you burrow in, you pop up, and then you drill rush out. Um, but I don't know. Is that something you've run into?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Venture's kit is kind of what would be the word? Not misleading per se, but like they play differently than you would expect on like an ability level.
Okay.
Like the whole like drilling and tunneling mechanic isn't as like I don't know, it feels like you're like, oh, you tunnel into the ground, you can use that to easily navigate around and do these cool things. And like it's like you think of it as an equivalent to Reaper's Wraith form.
Yeah.
But it's not like it is that, but not really.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. Like it's basically a worse version of Wraith form in a lot of ways.
Hmm. Okay.
But like, yeah, it's like an ability where it's like you try to use it to like engage. Do you use it to engage? I mean, I guess you could, but it's the same as if you're engaging with Reaper's Wraith form. It's like, okay, well now you've used your escape tool to engage. So like, I don't know. It's weird. It feels like it's not nearly as useful as we had anticipated the burrowing mechanic to be.
Okay. Oh, you're talking about the burrow. Okay, I thought you were talking about the drill rush. Okay, yeah,
Well, I mean, they kind of wrap into each other. I mean, the
yeah,
drill rush is like, yeah, a little burst component of that I feel like is sort of in conjunction with the burrowing.
yeah. Hmm. Interesting.
I mean, yeah, the drill rush is just straightforward. That's just, you use it to get the little boost or to hit someone. It's a lot like a Genji dash where I feel like you use it to sort of finish someone off once you've sort of burned them down,
I
or
feel.
it's just a mobility tool.
I feel. I personally feel like the best finisher move is their melee, which I actually really like their melee. I think that's cool.
Yes, I like it too.
Like a 60 damage melee is pretty wild. Uh. So. And then their grenade launcher. I personally think that's one of the most fun things about their kit, and it's not even like the drill.
Yeah, I like their primary fire. A lot of people said it should have longer range. I don't think it should. I think the range on it is just fine. It fits with like the play range
Yeah, I
that
agree.
Venture has, save for their ultimate and all that. But yeah, I think the primary fire is pretty good.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see how high level players use this character. I get the sense that this is going to be a sort of. I'm not really sure I'd call them a brawl character because they get the shields, but they still just sort of evaporate because they don't have the mobility of like old Doomfist.
Hmm.
Um, hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be curious to see. I feel like this character will either end up sort of like a weird sort of niche dive pick, or will end up just being used for brawl when for some reason you don't want to pick like Reaper. I don't know. It's yeah, or some other close range character. So that's their kit. What about their character? Because I think the highlight of the character is like the character.
Yeah, I would agree. Certainly, I think the community has responded a lot more to their character as opposed to their kit.
Yeah, and I feel like it's been a pretty long time since we've gotten a character that was genuinely lighthearted because Mauga acts it, but like obviously he's a murderous psychopath, and so that's not really it's not genuine. Um, but yeah, it's nice to have a sort of lighthearted character. Um, I think the last one. When was the last time we got a lighthearted character?
Would you consider Lifeweaver lighthearted?
um, Maybe Lifeweaver is more flirtatious than lighthearted, I think.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Um,
would Baptiste be lighthearted?
I feel like Baptiste has too much bitterness to be lighthearted. Like,
I wouldn't call him bitter.
okay,
Baggage, maybe. I mean,
baggage. Okay, yeah. Um, yeah, maybe the last time we got one was Baptiste, actually. Yeah. Um, I guess you could consider Lifeweaver sort of lighthearted, but his backstory definitely isn't. Um, Nor is Baptiste. Maybe by lighthearted, what I mean is like a sense of innocence. Because as far as we can tell from Venture, they haven't had like a tragic backstory or anything. They're just sort of a person who likes archaeology and
yeah,
picked
they
up a
haven't really had
drill.
any backstory.
Yeah,
Just, they're just sort of there.
they're just sort of there. And I mean, it's okay to have characters like that. They don't. Not every character needs some horrific, tragic backstory where a black hole gets trapped in their brain. But, yeah, it's a. I don't know. I and many others have kind of described Venture as sort of like a goober, which I think is a very nice character to have. I think it's been. I think the last time we got a character that was truly sort of just so free and lighthearted was, maybe you could consider May, but May has like the weird trauma of like all her friends dying and getting trapped in a ice box for 30 years or something. So,
hmm
yeah, honestly, Venture might be the first character where it's like they really have no crazy traumatic baggage or anything.
Yeah, and it's refreshing to have that.
Yeah, especially after a line of characters. Which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've loved these characters, save for, well, actually, I've only loved two of them. I was gonna say we got Ramatra, who is about as far from lighthearted as can possibly be. Um, we got Ilari, who doesn't actually exist and is just a fan-made character that they somehow
Just
ported
a
into the game.
just a figment of a fanfic's imagination.
Ilari doesn't actually exist. And Lifeweaver, actually Lifeweaver came before Ilari. Oh God, I've not paid attention to either of these supports because I don't like either of them.
Yeah.
And Lifeweaver is a character, not an Overwatch playable hero. As far as I'm concerned, Lifeweaver exists to my mind more as like a, hey guys, look, it's the flirtatious flower man, rather than like this character has a kit where they pull people and build flower platforms. That's not how the character registers. I just register them as like, oh look, they have the funny like the funny like eyebrow raise face, with like the pouted lips. That's just how I see. That's how I see Lifeweaver. Here,
Yeah, I just see them as like the character that always nopes all my cool plays.
I'll put up an image of exactly what how I see Lifeweaver, and Ian can see it as
hmm
well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's this. I'll find it because I have it saved somewhere. There's a phenomenal image of Life Weaver that I just. It's great. It might take me a second so we can keep going,
Okay.
but
Um, and then after Alara, we got Mauga, and Mauga is phenomenal. I love everything about Mauga, save for his ultimate. But I he's deceptively lighthearted. He's lighthearted on the outside, but on the inside, he is absolutely planning to murder you and everyone you know. Um, so yeah, having a funny little person, just they're very charming. I've seen a few of their interactions. They have a very funny one with Anna, where Anna offers them some artifacts, and Venture is like, "Oh, well, absolutely, I'll take them." And Anna tells them that like they might be cursed, and that makes Venture even more excited. Um, I actually knew a guy like that at one point. His house was pretty freaky.
hmm,
Uh,
I'd imagine.
because he liked these kind of like supposedly cursed relics that he would collect. Yeah, that's Venture. I don't know. You got anything else to say about Venture?
Ah,
They didn't get
I
any
mean, that
skins.
probably. Oh yeah, that's the other thing we should talk about. They did not get any cosmetics, not even one in the battle pass. Although there's apparently going to be an epic in the shop later this season. So
It's kind of like Mauga again.
it's worse than Malga, because Malga at least got the battle pass skin.
Oh well, it's a bad one, but yeah. Okay.
So yeah, it's yeah, not a great omen, I think, for what's coming later on.
We've been saying that for years, though.
Yeah.
Well, actually, yeah, fair point. It kind of has turned out to be correct.
Mm-hmm.
You found that thing
Would
yet?
have guessed. No. I know it's in here because I know I saved it because I used it in a video at one point.
Keep looking.
I'll
It's
find
fine.
it.
Yeah. Um. All right. So next up, we have Mirror Watch. Um. I I kind of don't care. I was
Hmm.
I was expecting something a little bit more exciting than just Widowmaker, but not purple. Um.
Thank you. That's what. Well, I haven't been saying that, but yeah, I feel like so many of the Talon Overwatch crossover skins are just really uninspired.
Yeah, I mean, I like Doomfist with the beret. Doomfist with the beret kind of goes hard, but that's sort of it. The Sombra one does nothing for me. It's just a color swap. It's literally just a
Hmm.
palette swap.
Yep.
As for the Overwatch, the Tracer one is all right. I like the Reinhardt one. The Reinhardt one is, I think, the one I'd actually use.
Yeah, that one's actually cool.
Let's see. I know that Mercy got one because that's the mythic. What was there another one? Wasn't it like,
Did you say the Doomfist one?
yeah? Was there six?
I like the Doomfist one. So let's see. There's Brigitte got one.
Oh
Hers
yeah,
is mid. Zarya got one. Hers is hella mid.
it's Zarya. What do you expect?
Exactly.
So how many in total, including the Mercy skin?
Well, there are 3 Overwatch ones: Doomfist, Widowmaker, Sombra. And then on the Talon side, we got Mercy, Reinhardt, Tracer, Brigitte, Zarya.
Okay,
So is that 8 total?
that's weird. I was expecting it to be a balance.
No, yeah, there are way more Talon skins they made than Overwatch ones, which was really strange.
Huh. And do they have like voice lines, unique voice lines with the skins?
So far, yes, there's a few. I think they all have unique spawn voice lines
Okay.
when you first spawn in. And then I think there's like a few additional lines as well for like unique like kill interactions and stuff.
Because I can't imagine like Darth Reinhardt saying things about like glory and honor. I feel like he's just gonna like start crushing things.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the Reinhardt one is cool. I'm not sure if I will use it over the train conductor one because I like the choo choo sound that it makes when I charge. Uh,
You're a simple man.
but uh, yeah, I mean, I might. Okay, and then I saw that there was a Zenyatta skin, which is like a null
Ah,
sector.
yeah, the null sector one. Yep.
That's kind of neat.
That one is cool. That one is really cool.
Um, I was hoping we'd get a Sigma one, but alas. Um,
Yeah.
Granted, I'm not sure how they would do that, but because I think it's hard to argue that Sigma is evil in the first place, but it's I feel like putting him in some Overwatch memorabilia could have been kind of funny. Um, so that's the skins. We also need to talk about the Mercy Mythic. I think it actually is pretty phenomenal. Here's the thing. Do I think I'm going to get it? No. Probably not, because we'll talk about this later. I now have the option not to get it if I don't want to.
Yeah.
I think I'll probably get the Moira one because I never was able to finish the Battle Pass last season. Um, I like it. I don't think it will. I don't think it will replace me using Pink Mercy, simply
Hmm.
because it has more sentimental value. Even though I despise playing Mercy with every fiber of my being, and maybe have 30 minutes on her on my account uh, since I've been playing since 2015. um, but yeah, it also it's very funny pulling out the pink mercy when you're in a with a bunch of other mercy mains because like the like instant status effect of it of like haha look at me I have the pink mercy skin uh especially on top of the fact that I fucking despise the character is very funny to get reactions from. um but as for the mythic itself, um it's I like it. I think the effects of the res are especially fun. Although I haven't really seen the customization much. I won't lie.
Have you like looked at it?
I've glanced at it. I don't know what the other color palettes are yet. I just know that you can change the staff, which is like fun, yeah. But
Hmm.
that's it. I haven't actually looked at the color palettes. I've been a little busy, unfortunately. School has been sort of my entire life for the last month and a half. Um, I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's a fine mythic. I've talked about this in multiple streams and videos at this point. It's like I look at it and on an objective level, I'm like, yeah, it's a good mythic. I don't care for it. I don't play Mercy. I don't find the aesthetic interesting, but it's it's a good one. Clearly, people like it. Good for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I will say I think there is something inherently pretty funny about the idea that like one day Mercy just finally fucking snapped because everyone kept nagging the fuck out of her. Um, I know it's not canon, but it is funny to think about. Uh, so yeah, that's the Mercy skin. Okay, next up, Clash. Uh, my thoughts on Clash are, boy, I'm glad to have the aesthetic of Hanamura back.
Yeah. Clash has been really interesting. It is cool being back at Hanamura. but at the same time, it almost feels like we've been here before. This isn't interesting. We've already seen this place, you know?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think of the gameplay though? Because honestly, I don't have much to say. It's yeah.
I'm very torn on it. My way of looking at it from what I've played so far is it feels very hectic, very fast paced. It feels very arcadey,
Yeah.
which like isn't a bad thing because it's fun. Arcade modes can be fun when they're like that. But this is a quick play competitive mode that'll be coming to those modes eventually whenever it actually ends up fully releasing. And like I don't know, I feel like competitive players are going to get really annoyed with the mode by like just how quickly things can just sort of rubber band and just like snap back and it's like, "Oh, you were doing really well," but then they happen to win the one team fight in the right time and place that it just twists and snowballs and they end up winning.
I
And
mean,
it's like, "Well, darn."
it's a tug of war mode, so I mean
Yeah.
that's sort of expected.
But
Um,
like Push is also tug of war, and that one is much less so. I mean, I guess people don't like that about Push. They're like, oh, if you get like an early lead, it feels like, well, I'm just gonna lose or win or whatever. And it feels like it's sort of set from the first few minutes who's actually gonna win the Push map.
mhm.
Whereas Clash is the inverse of that. You'll like it'll build up the expectation of like, oh, we're doing really well, we're gonna win. And then it snaps back and you lose. And it's like, well, that feels bad because I thought I was gonna win and then I lost. Whereas,
Interesting.
and the which in my experience feels worse than the benefit of being like, oh, I thought I was gonna lose and then we won. Like that's cool. But I think the positive feeling of that is lesser than the negative feeling of thinking you're gonna win only to lose. That's
Right.
been my experience with it, which in an arcade mode is fine because it's all hectic and fun and crazy and doesn't really matter. But I feel like in a competitive sense, it's going to get really frustrating to be super competitive, focused on trying to win these really fast paced, really like chaotic engagements. And then things will just snap around and it's going to probably feel bad. That's my sort of prediction for it.
Okay. But either way, you're saying you don't think it'll be terribly popular.
I don't know. I think more casual players are going to love it
Okay.
because it is hectic and fun and fast paced. But I think on the competitive side is where it's going to sort of get more iffy.
Okay.
Also, there's this sort of weird feeling I've noticed where even the nature of you sort of going back and forth over like these same points,
Mhm.
it ends up feeling very repetitive.
Because you're
Where
fighting the same points over and over
you're
again.
fighting literally the same point over and over and over again, which I don't like that. Because it's like, all right, you like this point has been won. And like, let's say control mode. It's like there's the three separate points. You fight, you win 2 out of 3. It's like it's like, okay, I've played this match. I've played this map for years. I've been playing Nepal for years.
Mhm.
And these 3 points across Nepal, I've played them over and over and over again, hundreds of times probably at this point. But within the scope of the match itself, you only encounter each point at most
Once.
once.
Yeah.
Whereas in Clash, you're fighting the same point like 3, 4, maybe even 5 times in the scope of that single match. And it's not like Push, where there's like just sort of like a nebulous stretch of like, you know, there aren't points in Push. It's just the expanse from Team A's spawn to Team B's spawn and the
Right.
robot going between. This is like a designated point you're fighting over. And you have to fight over that same point over and over and over and over again. And it's like, it just gets sort of like boring. Where it's like, oh, we've already fought here. Can we go somewhere else and fight? Like,
Right. Which I mean, to be fair, I think might be good for brawl characters. I feel like that's to the benefit of characters that aren't super mobile, being able to fight at the same point again and again. Um, but for like dive characters, yeah, I imagine that gets boring Just
I mean, I
having
don't think
to.
it even matters the play style of the character you're using. Just
Okay.
as a player, you're experiencing the same location over and over and over again in such quick succession. And it's not like, oh, you're passing through and happening to fight someone like you would in Push. It's like,
Oh, okay.
no, this is the thing you're focusing on right here, this point.
I see what you mean.
And it's like you work super hard, you win the point, you move on to the next point, and then you lose that next point. Oh, now you're back to fighting that previous point. And it's like, ugh, we are just here. Like
Yeah.
it's like trying to watch a TV show and you're stuck in a loop of watching the first 5 episodes in a sporadic order over and over again. It's like I want to get to episode 6. Like I want to keep rewatching these first 5 episodes again.
The other thing that I guess one of my biggest issues with it is that inherently this is an overtime game mode. Like,
Oh my god, I've had some insane overtimes in Clash
yeah,
already.
like,
Like 10 minutes stalling the last point. Where
yeah,
it's just like both teams have a wrecking ball, both teams have a tracer, and it's just like forever keeps going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and just nobody can cap it. And then like it's fun up until you lose, and you're like, well, I just spent 10 minutes trying my best, and then we lost, and it just feels ass.
yeah. Like 9 times out of 10, this game mode goes to time. It's pretty rare that you just win by capturing the last point. Like, it's and I don't know. I've never liked those game modes. I like when my game mode has an objective that's actually like achievable, and not just like let's see who gets the closest to it instead of actually achieving it. But eh, I have very mixed feelings on it. I think it's fine. I'll be curious to see how it does when it's in comp. I agree with you. I think it's probably a little chaotic. But we'll see. It could end up being great. I kind of doubt it, but let's see. So all right, that's Clash. We have the Battle Pass changes now. Uh, would you mind introducing the changes with it for us, Ian?
Yeah, so let's see. There's like a lot of little things they've done basically. So I guess one of the biggest things is mythic skins are no longer in the pass itself, but rather you gain mythic prisms,
Mm-hmm.
which are then used in the mythic shop to buy the thing. Coins that normally would have been earned through weekly challenges are now in the pass, which means you don't have to worry about every week grinding out X number of challenges to get those coins. You can just finish the battle pass by season's end and you'll get all those coins, which I think is a great improvement because it makes it far easier and less tedious and annoying to have to get those coins now. Let's see. Those are like the big ones. I guess you could also wrap in the heroes being free as kind of part of that because you no longer have to get the battle pass to get the new hero.
Yes.
Venture is just free
There.
for everyone.
Yep.
As are all past Overwatch 2 heroes now, starting in Season 10, which is great. And then on the flip side, there have been a couple like drawbacks, which is that with the shifting of the Overwatch coins into the battle pass, the weekly challenge system has been revised in a bit such that it's on every week you can't get as much experience now from completing the weekly challenges as you would in previous seasons. So technically it's harder to level up the battle pass now, which is a bit of a trade-off, and one which honestly, like, considering all the good things that came to the battle pass, I don't really mind, but it is like a, technically a little like downside that's been introduced.
Okay.
And then the last major thing I would say with the whole battle pass is by introducing Overwatch coins and mythic prisms to the pass itself, those have replaced a lot of low tier cosmetics within the pass. So things like sprays, voice lines, souvenirs, little things that honestly most people don't care about.
Yeah.
Have been replaced within the pass for this season. There's fewer cosmetics this season in the battle pass because there's things like coins and mythic prisms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I well, first of all, I mean, not all is lost. We got the Winton souvenir, which is like, I feel like the single souvenir that anyone will actually ever use.
Yep, probably.
Um, which I love. We, I, I also love that the heroes are finally free. Although I think it might be too little, too late, because I know many people stopped playing because of that. Um, let's see. Honestly, I think the prism system is good. I don't really see any downsides with that. Getting to the battle pass being slower is fine. Um, is it possible? I didn't check myself. Is it possible to earn back the 1,000 coins that you need through the premium battle pass?
No, you can only get 600 per season.
Of course. Of course.
But they are on the free track, so even if you don't buy the battle pass, you'll get those coins for going through it.
No, I'm frustrated that we still don't have the bog standard, like bare minimum of the industry, where by finishing the battle pass you get enough coins to get the next one. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I've never liked the battle pass system in the first place, so this is just sort of, well, it's a little different. Yeah. I don't have a ton to say about it because I don't think it makes that much of a difference. We should talk about what seems to be the inciting incident for this, though, which was that there have been reports that Overwatch 2 ain't doing so hot, at least in the monetary sense. What exactly did they say?
That's a good question. This was a long time ago, so I'm trying to remember. We should have brought up the thing actually talking about it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, basically, it was like, yeah, the game's underperforming financially, not making as much money as we thought, which sort of ties in with the absence of like developer bonuses we've heard about more recently.
Which is such a scummy thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I think those two are very much connected, where it's like, oh yeah, it's the game's not doing great financially. And then we hear, oh, there's no bonuses. It's like, yeah, that affirms what we heard about the financial state of the game. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say. I mean, there's also the whole Microsoft acquiring Blizzard, which is like sort of muddles things because it's like, how much is this Microsoft doing things? How much is this them just naturally shifting? Like, regardless of Microsoft, would this have happened in season 10 type stuff? Like, we don't know, and we'll probably never know. But I do think a lot of these changes with the battle pass and the heroes being free and everything is a effort on Blizzard's part to get more people to play the game.
Right.
They need more people to play the game. They don't have enough players. They're not making enough money. Overwatch 2 is a joke and everybody laughs at it. They need to fix that.
Hearing it so frankly from you is very funny, by the way.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, in my personal life, I know a number of people who, like, know what Overwatch is, but, like, don't necessarily play it themselves. And whenever I, like, tell them, like, even if I just say, like, oh, I play a lot of Overwatch, it's always the same response of, like, oh, you play Overwatch? Like you're into that game?
That's the same that's the response I get.
They always bring up the Blizzard breast milk every single time.
Yep.
It's like, it's like Overwatch has a reputation, and it's not great.
No,
it's not great. And I think Blizzard is trying to sort of fix a lot of that because it's definitely hurting them. So
yeah, I don't know. I think. Well, what's the sense that you get? Do you think that there's a sense there might be any sense in the dev team that, like, long term this game might just be cooked?
Hmm. I don't know. That's a really good question. I genuinely have no idea. I want to say no, but like I don't know, man. The fact that they told us the next 3 heroes that were going to be coming back at BlizzCon makes me sort of fearful of what happens after that last tank we're supposed to be getting at the end of this year.
Oh, I've never heard you say that.
It's
Okay.
like they're like, here, look at all this cool stuff we're working on. It's like, all right, cool. Like, why did you present the roadmap as far as you did and stop where you did? Is there anything past that? Like, I don't know. I get sort of like sus vibes about like what's gonna happen after 2024. Like,
Really?
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty far off still at this point, so anything could happen. But
Interesting. That never even occurred to me. But I guess that's why they pay you the medium bucks, huh?
I guess.
um. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like a reduction or like a removal of the bonus probably isn't going to be helping morale much either. Um. Yeah. I don't think Overwatch can make a comeback, but I think Overwatch, at least financially, can become stable. That's my outlook. I don't think there's any chance that we're going back to, like, the days of uh, you know glory or anything even approaching that. But I think there is a real chance that we get to the game being in a stable place. What do you think?
I agree. I think. I mean, I'd say the game is already kind of in a stable place. Like, season seasons 9 and 10 have been really interesting because they have looked like really heavy, like, quality of life type seasons
Mm-hmm.
where they're trying to fix these sort of like core things that they think aren't working in the game. Season 9 was super competitive focused.
Mm-hmm.
All the changes, even if it's like the adjusting of hero health, which isn't exclusive to competitive, that was done to address a competitive perspective of the game.
Right.
Season 10 is addressing like the low, I shouldn't say low tier, but like super casual side of the game. People who aren't there buying the battle pass every season like I am.
Right.
People who just tune in every now and again are like, oh, Malga looks cool. I don't really want to spend $10 for the battle pass though, so guess I won't play them. Like, it's addressing that side of the demographic of players. The people who are like casually play Overwatch every now and again. Season 10 was targeted at them specifically.
Right.
So it's like I'm really curious what they're going to do season 11, if we're going to see them hit like a new like part of the demographic of Overwatch players that they're trying to like tackle each of them individually in this sort of way. But definitely I think they're trying to focus at like the fundamental levels of the game. What do we need to do to satisfy players of all these different demographics of the game?
Right.
And they've been pushing these quality of life changes that honestly for the most part have been really good. And it's really nice to see that. But like, I don't know. It's hard to say where things are going to end up. And I agree that I don't think Overwatch 2 is ever going to reach that same godly status it had in the early days of Overwatch 1. But I do think they're like on good track to at the very least stabilize as a solid game that's financially stable, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with you. I think they might try to tackle another demographic, though I'm not really sure what that would be. Lore nerds?
It could
maybe?
be.
I don't know.
It could be lore nerds. It could be people like veterans who aren't terribly competitive, such as myself.
So me, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like someone who like buys every battle pass and plays each battle pass to completion, but doesn't play competitive, and
Mm-hmm.
has been playing since day one of Overwatch 1. Like me, basically,
Like,
is what
yeah,
I'm saying.
like us, yeah.
Like, yeah,
Okay.
like that could be a demographic. And yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there are other demographics that are like even smaller that like I might not even like fully register as being there. Like Faramains, I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
just like throw a dart at the roster and you're gonna hit a type of player that like maybe Blizzard would be like, how do we get more money out of these people?
Right.
If they hit Kiriko, the answer is obvious, but how do we get the Rhine mains to like not want to put a Glock in their mouth?
Oh man. Yeah, the Reinhardt just gets super armor. He it's like a
He did
fighting
get buffed this season.
it's like a fighting game. He just gets super armor. When he swings, he can't be stunned. Uh,
There you go.
um yeah, I don't know. It's oh especially hearing it from you, like shit seems bleak, man. I don't know. It's
I don't know. I mean, I guess I have like a rather cynical perspective on a lot of this at this point, just because like of how much I've seen. Like if only you knew the things I've seen, sort of thing.
I
Like,
mean, you've seen even more than me because you're deeper embedded into this
right.
creator program.
It's like I've seen so many things that have just broken my spirit. It's actually kind of funny to bring in Fortnite as like a comparison. I've been seeing a lot of people lately, like big Fortnite creators, like iTalk. You're probably familiar with him, talking about like how disappointed they are in Fortnite nowadays. And it's like, man, Fortnite just isn't what it used to be. It's really going downhill. It's like things are just bad for the game. There's like a huge demoralizing spirit across the Fortnite community right now. And myself, as someone who didn't touch Fortnite for 3 years and only first got back into it a few months ago, I'm like, Fortnite's great. I love Fortnite. It's awesome. I'm having so much fun. And it's like, I think it's the same sort of thing for me with Overwatch, where it's like, I've been so dedicated to Overwatch as a game for so many years that I've seen all the little bad things that happened, all the little downgrades, all the little failures and failure to delivery type thing, to the point that even if Overwatch 2 in its current state is still really fun for a lot of people, myself included, I've just gone through so much shit with this game that like I've
Yep.
just developed this cynicism for it. Whereas Fortnite, I wasn't paying attention for all those years of it getting worse. I just know what it is now, and what it is right now is a fun game. Just
Right.
like Overwatch right now is a fun game.
Okay. Yeah, I see what
But
you
it's
mean.
it's just my overtime exposure to it that I think has demoralized me in so many ways. And I think that probably ties into season 10 in a lot of ways. Like if you watched my video I put out, the like absolute state of season 10,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
it's like I just feel so meh about this season. It's like the season launched and I was like, yay, new season. Okay, like there's nothing here is like getting me overly excited. Like there's a lot of good stuff. It's like cool, Venture's here. Clash is a nice new thing to try out. Skins are cool, there's cool stuff coming, but like none of it just like grabs me and is like, oh yeah, the new season, let's go. It just not there. Not there.
I mean, I sort of feel the same way. It's I'm not super excited for it, but I I want to try Venture, and if I like Venture, then I'll have gotten something out of it. But yeah, we'll see.
I think you should play them more. I think you'd really enjoy playing Venture.
All right. Um. Okay, so we've talked about heroes now being free. There we go. Did that. Um. This actually isn't on the list, but I think we should touch on it briefly. Especially since you're here. The Wrecking Ball changes.
That was the one we forgot to bring up. I didn't think of it because I didn't talk about it in my video. That's why I didn't think of it.
Okay.
The Wrecking Ball changes are so interesting.
I saw that you can do some kind of crazy slingshot tech with it, which is
Oh
kind
my
of cool.
god, yeah. They completely rebuilt his physics. He feels different,
Okay.
just moving. And like I don't know if I like it or hate it because it does let you do some cool janky shit, which I like, but it feels weird because it's like like what 6 years of playing Wrecking Ball now
Yeah.
is like it's now different. Like all the physics I'd been used to for half a decade from Wrecking Ball no longer apply. His
Right.
physics are different now. And like there's so much stuff I love about it. The grapple retraction is amazing. The cooldown adjustments, or if you don't hit fireball, amazing. The sharing of adaptive shield, borderline useless. It's like it's such a weird mixed jumble of like what like overall I think it is just a net positive for the hero because of the changes they added that I do like, and because I think the new janky physics might actually be helpful for him. But then they have adaptive shield sharing, a borderline useless mechanic that, like, okay, it's an extra tool in his kit, but like, you're never going to use that tool. Why is it there? Like, one out of
Yeah.
every 100 situations, okay, maybe it'll be useful, but it's just not it's weird. It's such a weird change. And like I know where they're coming from when they added it. Because they're like, oh, he needs to be more like a normal tank. He needs to be able to give allies overhealth because that's all tanks do in Overwatch 2. But like uh, it's not useful. Like they didn't take anything away by giving it to him. It's just an extra thing he can do, but that thing is useless. And so it's like okay. Okay, I
Right.
guess.
Okay. Well, that's at least it's good to hear that's not bad because I was really concerned that this rework was going to just be awful, miserable, and I know you were too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not bad. Safe to say this did not kill Wrecking Ball. It adjusted him in some interesting ways, but it did not kill him. I think he is better now, for sure.
Okay.
And I think it's only a matter of weeks until we see him get heavy nerfed, but you know.
Oh, great. Okay. Um. Right. Okay. So now we have the PVE. Oh boy. um. Yeah. It got canceled. I'm.
I mean, it's exactly what I had expected for so many months at this
I
point. It's like
know. It's what I desperately hoped you were wrong about.
it's just the writing was on the wall. Like that's the only way to put it. It was all there, all the evidence we needed. That the PVE was donezo, and now it got revealed that yeah, that's basically the case. And like, I don't know. It's very strange in that I feel like this is a coin flip. The canceling of the PVE is a coin flip. On one side, it kills Overwatch 2. On the other side, it saves it. And I don't know which side it's going to land on. Where like is the fact that there is going to be no PvE, no like proper campaign PvE going forward, is that just going to be like final nail in the coffin? This game has no unique interesting identity, it's just going to die because that's what everyone was looking forward to, the PvE? Or does it mean that Blizzard can actually double down on what historically has worked for Overwatch 2 and Overwatch, just the PvP side, and thus the PvP side is going to get significantly better? And that's going to
Ooh.
save the game by bolstering what always worked to begin with.
Well, here's
I don't know which of those two it's going to be.
here's the problem. What do you think they could even do to like save the PvP? Because like I don't know. I wouldn't even
Well, they
know.
could start by not dumping money and dev time into a mode that it's never going to exist.
I mean that's
Like,
fair, but I
like
still don't know
in
what they
terms
could
of like
do.
just making content, balance patches that are better fine-tuned, new heroes releasing more often, even potentially. Not that that's necessarily something we want, but like that type of thing. New game modes happening more often, more like relevant like event type PvE things like Underground and Cosmic Crisis,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like things that actually like work in Overwatch 2 and are PvE, we can see more of those now, and that would be great.
I'm just so fuming that we spent 3 years with a abandoned Overwatch 1 to get an Overwatch 2 that didn't even do the thing that Overwatch 2 was made to do. Like, the entire pitch just it never was a thing. It just did it we might as well just go back to playing Overwatch 1 because, we literally never got the singular thing that they justified making Overwatch 2 with.
Yeah.
It's just I'm genuinely quite upset about it. It's I feel like we wasted God knows how many years just to get a worse Overwatch game out of it. Yeah, I don't know. I hope we get a movie or a TV show or anything because the lore is so good.
I don't know, man. They can't even give Venture an origin story. I think they could do a TV show.
I think if they got the right people to do it, they could. I hope they eventually do something with the universe because I feel like it's universally agreed upon that, like, the Overwatch universe has a just boatload of potential that they just entirely fail to capitalize on. So I hope eventually we'll get something, especially with how good the voice actors are. I think we could get something really good, even if it's just things like A Great Day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, A Great Day showed us that you can do, like, a proper animated, like, show sort of thing and have it work. But we'll see. We don't have any indication either way right now, so I can't really talk too much about it. Okay. The last topic that we have on this list here, it's sort of going back to another thing we talked about before. I think that the fact that there were no bonuses handed out is a bigger deal than people are making it out to be. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's so much. That's so much on like the business financial side of it that like I'm not versed enough in that side of like company goings ons to like really have a stance on it. I mean, on the surface, it seems bad. It's like, oh yeah, the devs just like aren't making money that they were expecting to make because of how this bonus structure is set up. But like, is that actually the case? I don't know. Like, that's how it's been sort of recounted by people who didn't get their bonuses, but I don't really know the minutia of how that side of the company works. So it's hard for me to really say.
Well, I know that it's gotten plenty of people very upset. I know that Jazz didn't want to be on this episode because she said that as soon as we got to the no bonuses thing, she might like throw her laptop or something. So, yeah, it's people are really upset about it, and that's understandable. I think that this is more proof that things are not all as well over at Anaheim. I don't know. I get that. This is gonna sound stupid. I just get real bad vibes from it. Just really, really bad vibes. It's very sort of off-putting to hear that a entire dev team is being denied bonuses because of this weird new policy they have that just so happens to be happening at the same time as a big acquisition. I don't know. All I know is that I would hate to see the corpo speak, email that they sent around explaining this to everyone. It just, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's sort of all I have to say on the matter. But I think we've gone through our list. We made good time on this.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got anything else, or is this it?
I think that's about it. I mean, there's still the Porsche collab that'll be coming. So that'll be interesting. But other than that, and yeah, that we don't really know what's going to happen in the rest of season 10. Like, we're at a point where it's kind of like, all right, there's a bit of like an empty void ahead. We just have to kind of wait and see what happens, I guess.
Man, the Porsche collab is so fucking weird to me. What fucking Overwatch player has enough money to even consider buying a Porsche? Like, most of them are going broke buying skins. It's like,
yep.
I don't.
And now they can go broke buying a Porsche skin for Diva.
I don't get it.
For one thing, I'm like 99% sure that Porsche approached Blizzard for this collab as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah, 100%.
This isn't like One Punch Man, right? Imagine Blizzard went to, whatever studio it is that makes them. There's definitely Porsche being like, we need to breach into the gaming marketplace. How do we do that? Oh, we need to put our products in a video game. What video game? Overwatch. I don't know how that happened, but like, it's just, yeah, it's weird. I think Blizzard did it for the money, which is really, as someone who's done sponsorships for the money before, it's so funny to envision Blizzard doing that on just like an infinitely higher scale.
we dare never acknowledge the Raid Shadow Legends.
I don't know what that is.
Sponsorship. Oh boy. Yeah, it just, I'm floored by it. I have no idea. Who the fuck at Porsche was like, yeah, gamers have enough money to buy a fucking Porsche. Yeah, sure, buddy.
I think it's just exposure, It's like people are talking about how silly it is. Oh, Diva's getting a Porsche skin. Ha ha ha. It's not necessarily the gamers themselves that are being pandered to there. Or marketed to. It's the just like anyone who might happen to see it and then, oh, Porsche's in their head. They thought about Porsche, which admittedly I don't think I'd thought about Porsche for years prior to this happening. So
yeah, fair enough. I mean, all I know is that every time before I go to the grocery store, I have to check my bank account, to make sure I have enough. I'm really not thinking about a fucking Porsche. Yeah. Oh, just it's so frivolous.
So we know there's going to be 2 Porsche skins.
Okay.
One for Diva. We don't know who the other hero is yet.
Okay.
Who do you think it's going to be?
Okay. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it could be like, okay, I have 3 characters that come to mind. Soldier 76, because old white dudes are primarily the drivers of Porsches. Dave Overwatch, Cassidy, because cool American cowboy in his fancy car. That's a thing that people go for, or sort of, or Widowmaker, because like the elegance of like a Porsche or something like that they could go for. That's my guess.
Okay. So you're going more from the perspective of the skin is going to represent a Porsche driver as
Yes.
opposed to a Porsche vehicle.
Yes.
Okay, I hadn't considered that, but that's actually a really good point. Yeah, I could see that being the case, especially since we are getting a Porsche vehicle for Diva.
Yeah.
It might make more sense for the other skin to be a Porsche driver type person. Yeah, I could totally see Soldier getting the skin, because the other thing I was thinking about is there's a good chance whoever's getting this Porsche collab skin didn't otherwise get a skin already this season.
Okay.
Like, it's not guaranteed, but it kind of makes sense to balance things out like that. Because unless it's Kiriko, Blizzard tries to sort of, fairly distribute things. And Soldier didn't get a skin this season, so it
Yeah.
could be him. I was thinking, how wild would it be if Sigma got the skin?
Oh man.
Because he didn't get a skin otherwise this season.
Man, Eldritch Grandpa can't even get a good, like, Eldritch themed skin, but he can get a fucking Porsche skin.
Yeah, there's no way he's legally allowed to drive.
He can't drive. He can float in the car. Like, he can make the car float with him. He can make the car a flying car. 100%.
He can fly the car,
Yeah,
he just can't drive
he can
it.
fly the car. He can't drive the car. And when he flies the car, he just sends it into a building. But I mean, like, because he gets distracted by, like, some other event in another timeline that he's currently envisioning. But, like...
Yeah, he gets distracted by a flea over in Australia.
from, like, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And, a Porsche Sigma skin would be just... I'd be so sad. Like, look what he's been reduced to. He's been reduced to a fucking sports car billboard. Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious who this other Porsche skin is going to be for. But yeah, they thought that it's going to be a driver as opposed to the vehicle. I think is a interesting point to make, because we could very well end up seeing that be what they could go for with it.
I guess you could also make it like Ramatra. Just like Ramatra goes from like a Porsche driver to a Porsche.
I guess. I was gonna say Bastion, but like, yeah, that driver to the that's getting into that, like, are you familiar with that whole like anime trope of like girls that turn into cars and jets and stuff?
What? No?
Oh, my friend, you have so much to learn.
Oh dear. I know Transformers. I like Transformers.
No, this is anime girls, so it's better.
Okay. That's a horrifying thought. No. I thought it would just be funny to just have Ramatra grow fucking wheels when he goes into Nemesis form, but now you have me thinking about that. Okay.
His staff could have like a steering wheel at the end of it. Yeah, maybe you're onto something.
I think we should end it here before I have to continue listening to this.
All right.
All right. Well, I think that's it, folks. Thanks for coming by again. This has been a hell of a month. So, if you don't mind, maybe like, subscribe, and all that shit. This is, it's been rough. So yeah, that's it. You got anything else, Ian? I think we're done. Unless you want to...
No, I think we're pretty much wrapped up here.
Anime girls? Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yeah. I don't need you talking about that anymore. Okay. Well, that's it then. What's our closing remark, Ian?
At least one person is going to buy a Porsche because of this upcoming collab.
That's a tragic thought, and thank you for making me think about it. Alright, well, that's it, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. Until next time. Say bye, Ian. Say bye to the nice people.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Tune in next week.
Next week? Yeah, I wish.